Hello and welcome back to Harriet's Custom Computer Art Plus. Today I will be concluding props and centerpieces by showing you how to assemble the props and the centerpiece that was designed in part 1. Let's get started. Okay, I have everything cut out now, and I already formed some of the cubes to read Cali. I printed all of my papers that I'm going to make a base out of, and I still have these two to show how I easily fold. And for the cubes, I ended up cutting them out by hand because when I transferred my Cricut design from my desktop to my iPad, it changed the format from 8.5 by 11 to the regular format of 9.25 by 6.75, which I don't understand that, but it did. So all I did was I took my scoring tool. This you can use inside of Cricut or independently, and I'm just scoring all the lines where I want to fold. I didn't feel like reprinting everything, so I just said I'd just do it this way. And all I'm doing is scoring so to make it much easier to fold without having the paper bend up as you're trying to fold these small corners and edges. Trying to make sure I keep it in camera view. I'm trying to be more conscious of that because sometimes I end up going off camera. And you can feel the ones that you've already scored so you know what's left. I got that, got those. Oh, looks like I got every one. I'll put my ruler aside and I'll show you how I put these together. I just fold it where I creased it with the scoring tool. Goes very quickly once you score it. And it, as you can see, it doesn't take very long to score it yourself, but if you can use your Cricut, by all means, use the Cricut to cut out your squares. But it didn't take me very long to cut these out either, but I've been doing this for such a long time. I've gotten used to cutting things out by hand. And now you're just going to take your glue gun and you're going to just put a little line of glue right there and then quickly press it together. And then I lay it down, kind of make sure that it's adhering. Do the same thing to this side. And bring it together. Then lay it down and make sure that lines up correctly. Because if it doesn't, I will pay for it later when I'm trying to close it. And then for these two, I just quickly do it so that I can get them both done at the same time. Press it right quickly to set it in place. And then lay it down and finish the inside. And all you do is fold your box tops down, put your bottom in, and you have another block. So I didn't glue the bottom shut because it was going to be sitting on it anyway, so it didn't really, I didn't think it mattered, but you can glue the bottom if you want. And now I'll show you how I easily fold the papers. I use what I call my old-fashioned Cricut, which is just a cutting board. And I just push the, place it on the table like you would normally cut. I push one edge all the way to the top, and then you don't have to worry about trying to line it up because it's automatically lined up. And this is my Cricut roller. Got it for Christmas. I absolutely love it. It makes cricketing go so much faster. And then I'm going to take the part that is the spine, and I'm going to fold that once again toward the top of the cutter. And then once again, I'm going with that same folded edge because that'll keep your paper. This is cardstock. I printed it on cardstock. I would have printed it probably on photo paper, but cardstock will show up better on camera as I'm trying to show you how to do it. And then once again, I'm still going with the spine of the paper so that I can keep from creasing it in places that are weaker because the spine is strong. And I just run that up and down it. Now I open it up, and this is the side I want to fold with. I want the one that's out because you see one side is white. I want the side that has the color, and that's the one I'm going to line up all of my folds with. So I'm just going to refold the half of the card that wasn't folded toward the first side that I wanted. And when you do that, it gives you your colored edges like this so that it will attach to the other pieces and look really nice as opposed to having the white sticking up. And you'll see the same approach I use in the expanding favor bags. So if you didn't catch that just now, if you don't feel like rewinding, watch the other video and the expanding favor bag, and I do it the same way. And just like that, you can get through a lot of these. I use them as a base for different decorations that I make. Once again, you're going to start with this side and then just fold it where, so that you just fold the creases in reverse to get it to where you have both sides as colored. Now I'll show you how I cut out the pieces for the teddy bear prop. I'll show you that first. I can move this out of the way. So here are the pieces for the teddy bear, and you'll see first all I did was just cut them on the straight line, the straight edge where we made our original boxes. And then I looked which areas I could curve around to show less lines so that the lines wouldn't be straight across. They would go along with the actual shape of what I'm trying to make. And so I cut the head around the head, and then you'll just make sure to glue this down really well. And sometimes if I don't, this is going to have a little line here, but if I glue it well, that shouldn't be a problem. And I'm going to use a glue stick to glue these down because the hot glue would raise it up, so I want it to be flush. But if you still don't like even that little bitty line that's going to be there, you can always just print the arm section and cut it out, and then just put an arm here so that you won't have any lines. And that's what I do, especially if there's going to be a line in the face. I'll usually just make the whole face by itself and put it over the top. You could also make this dimensional by adding a face to the top, and then the ears would be a little recessed, so it'd give it somewhat of a three-dimensional look. But I just cut on the natural curves of the body of the teddy bear that I was trying to make. And then also for the baby, I did the same thing. I made sure that I had the parts that I cut away on another sheet so that I wouldn't be having to go and print more. So I make sure before you trim around your figure that you have the same portions on one of your other cutouts. Alright, so I'll go ahead and start putting my baby together. Let me find my glue stick. There's one. Okay, so this is going to be overlapping, and also if you use a photo paper, you should look for, I purchased some called Kodak Soft Gloss. It's glossy paper, but it has a soft gloss, and it's also not as thick as other photo papers. And when I use that paper for my for the play on placemat, and you couldn't even see the seams unless you were actually really trying to look for them. It really came out almost perfect because the paper, that photo paper, is so thin. So now I'm just bringing this up because I don't want to get glue all over my Cricut mat here. And I'm going to start with this one. First, I'm going to see how much it overlaps because I want to make sure that the glue is not showing in the parts that I don't want it. So it's just going to be at the edge. So I'm going to open up my glue, and I'm just going to load that edge up with as much glue as I can without making it become bubbly. Sometime the paper will start to ruffle, and I want to avoid that. So I'm just going to line this up with her legs. Oops. Good thing about using that too is if you make a mistake, you can easily fix it. I want to line this up perfectly to minimize as much of the line showing as possible. And I'm just going to go over it with my roller just to try to make it hold up that much better. And then I'll pull this down and do the same thing with her head and arm. So I can bring this down pretty far. I'm going to get her whole chin. Load it up with some glue, and then I'm just going to hit part of this arm. I'm trying to see how far down does that go. Okay, so I can come down about that far on the arm, and I can do all the pillow over here. And then I'm going to line that up once again, making sure that everything is where it should be. And I'm just going to use the roller to make it as flat as possible. Alright, baby's done. And I'm not gonna, the reason why I didn't trim it all the way out is because I like to cut that when it's actually on the foam core board. And for these, I would probably use all black foam core board that you can purchase from Walmart, because the edges, these edges will be white around the baby. And if you want a more finished look, I would just get the solid black board that's black through and through. Unfortunately, with lockdown going on in San Diego, all I have are my boards I got from the dollar store, which one side is white, the inside is white, and the other side is black. So I'm going to use those. But actually, I'm not going to use foam core board. I'm going to show you how to do it with popsicle sticks, because that's even easier, because then all you have to do is cut out just around the edge. So you could choose if you want it, and it'll still stand up. It's still going to be firm enough for my teddy bear to stand up the way that I will link the wood. But you could either use foam core board, and you could glue it to the foam core board, and then take your X-Acto knife and cut around the edges, which I might still need to use the X-Acto in some of the tighter areas, like in here. But I think I'm going to use the popsicle sticks and the craft sticks to make it so that I can make it faster and won't have to cut out as much. Now if these were going to be in the middle of a room, you would want to make sure that you have a back on it, or you can make them double-sided. And the way you'd make it double-sided is you would just flip or mirror this image and picture it, or if you were going to make smaller ones and cut it out in Cricut, you'd mirror it in Cricut. But to mirror it and picture it, I would just make all my pieces separate like I did here, cut each piece out separately, and then mirror each piece after I had saved it as a JPEG. Just bring that JPEG back up from File and flip it, mirror it using the size and position flip, and it would flip it to the mirrored position. For these now, I'm just going to use some more cardstock to back it up with, and then I'm just going to cut it out. So let me get my sticks so that I can do that, and I will be right back. Alright, I found my craft sticks, and now I need to put some craft sticks on this side. And the way I do that is I hold it up to the light. If you're holding this up to the light, you can look through it and you can see the outline of where you need to put your craft sticks. And all I do is just take a craft stick to get my outer borders. Just put some, this is going to be a pretty nice size. So I just put some glue down the full length of this craft stick. Hold it up to the light so I can see where my edge is, and I'm going to put it all the way at the top of her head, and then press it in and see where. And if you wanted to do it so you wouldn't have to keep pulling this up like this, you could just draw a quick outline with a pencil or a pen. I actually could have done this with my light board. I have a Cricut light board. I'm going to do that. I forgot I had this. Another Christmas present. Alright, so comes in handy. I don't think I charged it, but it has a plug. And this is actually to use for weeding, but I use it for seeing through my cutouts. Put that to the side, get this plugged in. So now I can bring my baby over, turn it, woo, that's bright. You can decrease the brightness or increase it. I actually should have moved this stick down some, but I jumped the gun, but it'll still work out, because I usually like to leave enough edge so that the stick won't show. So when you're making yours, make sure that you do that. But now it makes it very easy for me to put the sticks where I need them. And I just I break some, put them wherever I think they need to go to firm up my little doll here. And you want to keep them somewhat away from the edge so that you won't have to worry about trying to cut around it with your scissors. If the scissors won't get around it, then you'll have to use your X-Acto knife to cut out some areas. The good thing is you don't have to put a whole bunch of them in. You just look at the key areas that you need it, and that's where you put it. And then I put some glue where they meet the stick so that it won't bend apart. It will keep it in place. And you just put as many in as you think you need to hold up your project. And the craft sticks are easy to tear and cut, so you can always tear or cut off, trim a piece off if you want. I'm going to trim a little piece off of this one because I want to put it right here, and I want enough space to cut right there. So I'm just going to put a little mark where I want it cut out, just like that. And now I'm going to take one of my X-Actos. I don't know, this one might cut it. This one is 99-cent store product, so I don't know how good it's going to be, but we'll try it out. Yeah, it's doing okay. And I'm just going to cut this little area out so that I can fit it around her arm and make that work better. So I just notched it out, and now I'm just going to put it in here, and that way my scissors or my X-Acto knife will be able to cut around there. right, so that one looks good. And now I'm going to do the same thing to my teddy bear. And if you didn't know how to do these with foam core, if you wanted to see an example, I did one previously with foam core, just like a bouquet of flowers. I was just trying to show an easy way to do these, so you could check that tutorial out if you want to see how to do it with foam core. Just want to make sure that you really make it strong. So now if I lift this, you see how stiff it is. So once we put our backing on there, it's going to be perfectly supported. So I'm going to go ahead and put my light board away, and then we'll be ready to add the rest of the back to both of our props. Now I'm going to back it with this cardstock that I just got at Walmart. That's the same thing I used to print the front, and it's 110 pounds. I'm just gonna pick out 6 sheets, and all I want to do is just join them onto the back. But first I'm going to go ahead and glue them together like I did with the previous props. And I'm going to use my glue stick again for these, and then I'm going to use the hot glue gun to adhere them to the props. Then I'm just going to run the roller across it again. That's why I like this roller, because you know that you're adhering all surfaces. You're not missing any spots. I'm going to put this on here, make sure that I have the back down enough so that he'll be completely covered with the back. And I'm going to turn him back over and start gluing with the hot glue gun. So I'm just going to start putting some glue. First I'm going to start right around the sticks and on the stick. And I'm going to slowly go up and just try to flatten it out good as you come up. I definitely got to get a glue gun with longer glue sticks. I ran out of my longer glue sticks, so I need to get some more glue sticks. So I have to struggle with these short ones. It looks like I should have gone over more on that side. Yep, see, I already messed up. But I can just add a piece of paper over there. I'll have to be more mindful of it when I do this one. As a matter of fact, I can cut a piece off now and do it. And no one will be the wiser. I'm just gonna load up that wooden stick with some glue. I'm just gonna bring this over. I'm gonna let it overlap a little bit. So it's an easy fix. Next time I'll pay attention. I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this all the way down so I don't have to worry about it. Now I'm going to show you how I cut it out, and then I'll do the other one and start on the base, showing you how I do the base. So now I have this all adhered. I know I'm going to have to glue some around the edges, but that's alright. And all I do is just cut it out now. Sometimes it helps to get a little of that extra out of your way. And I want to try to make sure I don't leave any white on here. Any areas that I can't get very good with the scissors, I'm going to go back and do it with my X-Acto knife. So I'm going to finish cutting this out, then I'll be back with you. Okay, now I have the teddy bear cut out, and you can see the back view, and also my little baby. So I'll move those out of the way. Now I'm trying to come up with an idea of how I want to do this base. In order to do these, all you have to do is put a little glue in each crease, hold it together, and then you're going to do the same thing on the front. Right at the base of it, just put just a bead of glue and hold it together until it sets. Okay, I decided to go with this as the base. These aren't glued together yet. I just put them in a circular format and put my blocks on there. And now I'm gonna move this over and work on the rest of my base. So this is the polka dot circle and the stripes that I'm going to use to put around here. So I have that cut out. Yeah, that will work. That will work perfect. All right. So now I need to grab my cutting board again so I can cut these apart. All right. Now we can finish this project, I believe. I'm going to line these up and I'm going to glue stick them together. And get my roller so that I can flatten out that edge. Put a nice amount of glue on there and then line this up. And I'm going to start with this. Going around the edge of the board. I'm going to do it on the white side so that if any of it happens to show a little bit, it will just look like it's part of this white. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to glue this along the edge, just like that. So I'm going to get my glue gun, and I'm just going to put a little bit, hopefully you can see that, I'm just going to put a little glue to get that started. Right there. Bring up my border, and if the glue hasn't already hardened, put that on there just like that. I'm just going to run some glue right along this edge and then just roll this all the way until it's completely covered. I want to make sure it stays flush. Put some glue, roll, just like that, making sure to keep it right on the edge. As you can see, it's a lot of glue on there. Too much came out on that press, so I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. There we go. And now I gotta press just lightly now that it's going again. And just keep rolling that along the edge and cleaning it up as I go. All right. Try to finish it up all the rest of the way. All right, so I got that all around the edge. So I just put some glue right in there, and now I'm just going to press it down, trying not to spill. which I did, but not too much. So now that I have the base all finished, before I put my top on, I'm going to glue these squares inside of the base, and I'm going to put skewers inside of the teddy bear's feet so that they will stick through these layers, and it will keep it standing up sturdy so that it won't be leaning over or falling over. So I'm going to do that now. I need to get enough of these cut, and actually this is a good enough width. Make sure it'll fit inside of there. So I need to cut down a little bit. So I'm going to get my Cricut cutter again, Cricut Exacto, I guess, and I'm just going to cut these down some. And these don't have to be exact because they're not going to be seen anyway. And then I'll just round off the corners a little bit, or angle off the corners so that they'll fit inside of my circle. So I'm just going to start putting these in until I have enough to reach up to this rim. I cut 8 pieces. That's how many it took to stack up to the top and make this completely sturdy. So I'm just going to attach them one at a time into this base, but I'm only going to be putting glue on the corners because I want the rest open for my pegs or my skewers with the teddy bear. So I'm just going to glue that in the middle, and when I push my skewers through, I don't want it to be so hard to get through. If I hit glue, it would be too hard to get through. So that's why I'm just putting it on the corners. Just going to stack one on top of the other until I have all of them in the base. So I'm going to put one more in here. And that should do it. That's perfectly at the top. Actually, I'm not going to do skewers. So now I'm going to use popsicle sticks. I'm going to cut popsicle sticks at an angle. I'll use my scissors to split a popsicle stick. And now I'm going to decide where I want to put them in my teddy bear. And I remember leaving some space so that I could get these in. So I'm going to try to find that space before I glue them in. And I want to put this on as flat a portion of the teddy bear's feet as possible because I want to be able to push it all the way in and not see any of it. So I might have to trim off some to flatten. I think I'm going to trim this one off to flatten it a little more so that when I put the popsicle stick through there, it will sit flat on my board. So I think that will be good. So while they're still in there, I'm going to just tilt it up and load it up with some glue. Putting glue on top of the wood, popsicle stick underneath the wood, and then I'm just going to straighten it back up. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So make sure you can see that. So all I did was make sure that my stick was straight, and I just, remember I didn't glue down all these edges, and I'm just going to fill this up with hot glue. I'm going to put it around it, under it, and on top of that wooden skewer. I'm going to make sure it's straight and press it down and let it set. Moving all my glue strings. And then once that's set, I'm going to look for my best side of my base. And this looks perfect. Let's check the back just in case. Yeah, I like this side the best. So I have I'm trying to get it where my connectors are on the side. So my connectors are right here. And I want to put this in the middle. And I'm going to start some holes. Check my bear to make sure he's going to be in the middle. Looks like I'm a little off. I'm going to move it over a little bit. So yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to finish digging in these holes with that little piece of popsicle stick that I saved. I'm just going to finish making this hole open so that those sticks can go all the way in. Cut some points on here again to help them go in easier. And once I have them where they need to go, I'm going to put the holes inside of my pink and white circle. Try this one more time. Perfect. And I think he's standing up perfectly straight. So I'm going to go ahead and go around the edges and clean off my point. And I'm just going to go right inside the teddy bear and just go all around the edge and close all of those edges off. Okay, so now we're ready to add our circle, and I want to feel so that I can find those holes again. There's one right there, and there's one over here. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue around here and put on my circle. Pressing that on, making sure it's secure. And once that sets up, I'll stick my teddy bear in by finding the holes. I think the other one's over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sticking him in over here and see if I can find that other hole. Just stick this back in there. Now that I have the teddy bear done, I'm just going to make a kickstand style base for the baby doll. And I'm just going to square off these scraps that I have. Boy, I keep breaking the lid. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Alright, so now I'm going to cut these out. And I'm going to take my ruler, put it all the way to this edge. I'm going to make a line. And then I'm going to go over, make another line, and this will be the line that I'm going to just cut across, but not cut completely through it, so I can make the kickstand style backing for the little girl prop. Alright, so first I'm going to cut these ends off. And we're going to use the black side as the side that's out, and will be the part that will be showing from the back when it's turned around. I'm just going to finish kind of squaring these off. Alright, I can get rid of these scraps, except for this one, and you'll see what I'm going to do with this. I'm just cutting an extra strip and I'm just going to eyeball cutting this one in half. It was pretty short, so it's pretty easy. Then I'm going to go straight from one corner to the other corner and sit those aside. Alright, now I'm going to make my one cut, but not all the way through. I just want it to be able to bend. So I'm going to go straight down that line, but I'm not cutting all the way through. Maybe I'm cutting possibly halfway through, but what I want it to be able to do is fold just like that. I'm going to do the same on this one. Not cutting all the way through to the black, just cutting a slit in there so that I can make this fold. Now I have both of these ready for my doll. Now these extra little pieces, these little triangles that I cut, I'm just going to glue them together. And I'm going to make sure that the corner is squared so that it sits flat. Both pieces sit flat. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Just going to put a triangle of glue in there, and then I'm going to stack these on top of each other and do the same thing. Make sure they're flat here and make sure they're flat there. And then I'm going to give those a second to dry. And now I'm going to take these and attach them right here in the center. So I'm going to put hot glue here and hot glue here. And I'm just going to eyeball the middle, and I'm going to just glue it right there. That's what's going to attach to the doll to keep her standing. So that one's done. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Just put some glue right down the center of both sides leading to the corner. And then I'm just going to once again place it in the middle, hold it in place, let it set up a bit. And that's going to keep this from tearing any further. And now we're ready to attach it to our doll. So the doll sits flat here, I'm going to put one here and put one there. Now I can cut it down so that it's not showing in the front. I can cut this down on each side to make sure it's not showing in the front. I just wanted to make sure that it was enough there to hold it in place. Might be perfect for this side. And I'm going to look at it from the front before I attach it, because I want to make sure that none of it is showing on the front. So I need to cut, I'm going to cut both of them down just about a little under a ½ inch more. Alright, so that one should be perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and test this one out. And actually that one's fine. So this was the only one that I needed to adjust. And we're ready to make our baby stand. Okay, so I'm going to sit it down like this. And make sure it's in the area where it won't be seen from the front. And I'm going to just put some hot glue on the front of there. And while I have it sitting up, I'm going to attach it. And I'm going to attach it a little bit at an angle, but there will be enough of this in contact. There'll be enough of this edge in contact to make sure that it doesn't fall over. So I'm going to angle it just a little bit. I'm going to put it where it won't be seen. Turn it around to make sure. And I'm just going to hold it there. And you can see it's just at a slight angle. I'm going to hold it for a few minutes and let it set. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the front. I'm going to put some glue on this one. And I'm going to line it up with the baby. Just hold it a bit, give it time to set up. And there, you have your baby stand. So now I'll take some pictures and show you the final looks for both of them. Once again, thank you for watching Harriet's Computer Art Plus. Don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified the minute I upload new videos. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. I plan to have many more things to show you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.